this week's trending topic is one that I believe a lot of people, a lot of investors, a lot of new traders, a lot of veteran traders experience, and that is the psychological aspect of trading, and then the differences in active trading and the more common passive trading, which is what we talk about here on the show. And so, AJ, I guess my question to you is, when you get new investors that approach you and they're like, what psychological component do you explain to them first? Because I imagine you kind of go over that before you go into any of the technical stuff.
Yeah, I tried to, and I actually think active investing is the more like when people think about trading, they think about actively trading, like turning it into a job. I think that we're all programmed, a lot of us are programmed to think in terms of if I trade my hours for income, right? The typical model of I work 8 hours a day and I get this much per hour of my time, and so they like to apply that to investing, and so they like to put in the time. Well, investing is actually by definition having your money work for you. And so I almost want to apply investing philosophies to trading rather than thinking that, I want to dispel the myth that if you just put a lot of time and actions into your trading that you'll make money, because the truth is, I ran this experiment. I actually had one of my participants, I didn't. His wife did. His wife said, "Hey, listen, you're retired. I get that you're trading now, but I want to go travel the US." And so they got themselves, I think they rented one of these mini Winnies or something like that, these mini Winnebagos, and they hit the road. So before they hit the road, he was doing something like 30 to 50 trades per month. So he was a very active trader. And because of the limitations of being on the road and having to drive from destination to destination, he just couldn't physically be that active. Now, I had been telling him for years, don't be so active. You're not increasing your win ratio, and you're not increasing the amount of reward each time you do win by being this active. In fact, you're almost self-sabotaging yourself by always hitting that trade, that buy, that sell button. But it was his wife forcing him to be behind the wheel and not be in front of the computer that caused his numbers to go down to more like 10 to 15 transactions per month. And guess what? His win ratio went up and his reward ratio went up, the amount that he got per trade. And the reason is because he was limited to the amount of trades, he had to think through things a little bit more, and he had to be a little bit more systematic and a little bit more thoughtful about what he was doing. And it turned out to benefit him. And so that combined with just the psychological in front of an active trading session, it's almost like when folks go to Vegas or any sort of casino where they have all the sounds and the activity, and ding 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 ding, bang, na, 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 na. You start almost like the reptilian mind kicks in. And I know when I enter in any of those facilities, I automatically start reaching for my wallet, right? I'm like going to go get the tokens and I'm going to start gambling. So you want to like counteract that mentality. And so I've coined this phrase called passive trading, where you use a lot of the automatic trading functionality of these new platforms, and you kind of do all the thinking outside of the trading hours and pre-program your automatic traders in order to do what you want them to do during the next trading session, and you intentionally don't be there. So think through uh, uh, what needs to be done. You also hear about some of the most successful real estate investors that go to these foreclosure auctions, and you'll see that some of their suggestions are is that you write your things down and you stick to the rules that you give yourself about how much you're willing to pay for something that's on the paper, and don't deviate, don't get caught up in the auction. Same thing, if you program those bots to do the trading as you are thinking about when the session's out, when your mind is clear. I mean, this is one of the ways to not get yourself into trouble and not wind up being in situations where you're white knuckling it. When you start thinking through your strategies and you stick to your trade rules by actually hard coding them into these bots, it makes life a lot more easier, and it plays true with the idea of now making your money work for you. As a side effect, it frees up all your time during your day to actually live your best life.